Hello, and welcome. Today we're going to talk a little bit about who you're becoming. And your personality develops at about age 5, and guys tend to be better in math because they have a thinner parietal region of the brain, and females tend to be a little bit more better in language because they have a larger hippocampus as well as a deeper limbic system. Life views and habits are learned from typically the home environment, but also there's other places that you pick up habits. Usually culture stems from the home, though. People more so value culture that's learned in the home. So at about age 10, you start learning, family norms. You start learning about your family traditions and things like that. That's very important to you. In your 20s, you should be learning how to build family strength and break generational curses. So with that, you will learn how to handle unnatural stress so that it doesn't cause a lot of strain on you and your loved ones. In your 30s, you should begin to have some balance in your life. And this gives you more options for careers and more job opportunities. So that should be like a second stage. Some people switch jobs and some people just kind of get bumped up, usually in their 30s. In your 40s, you are in your menopausal stage. And for females, that's menopause. And that's when your cycle starts stopping, and a lot of times you'll know that your cycle is stopping from like headaches and different bodily changes, night sweats, things like that. So you'll start noticing that there are some changes going on with your body, and it may resemble other things, but sometimes it may be some interruptions, some differences that you can notice with your cycle as well when you're approaching menopause. In men, though, andropause is like a decrease in mental ability, and a lot of times it affects you in different ways, just as it does a female, because your hormones change, and you may need some assistance in this stage of life for andropause. Not every male, though, goes through andropause. Like 50% of males experience andropause, whereas it's a higher number of females that experience menopause. Most females go through menopause. Things like diet and just kind of doing some research and kind of keeping up with what's going on with you can help with those things. Bioidentical hormone therapy can be beneficial to both men and women. Also, there's a lot of natural remedies that you can find, like at a drugstore or at a superstore in your area. In your 50s, you will start to think about retirement if you have not already done so, and you can either live frugal so that you can save towards it. Look at your medical coverage and see what type of medical coverage that you have, to see if maybe you can plan, for the future, how much you'll be making. If you whatever you're making, you probably won't be living off of that. You'll probably be living off of 1/3 unless you plan very well. You'll be living off of 1/3 of your income. So therefore, you need to kind of look to see what your goal is for retirement. Some people start early in their 30s so that they can be set and retire early. But if you start in your 50s, that's typical. In your 60s, you want to make sure that you have information on the jump drive, as well as paper that's legal documentation of your wishes. On the jump drive, it could be you discussing with your family your final wishes, so that way they know what you want and that way that they won't be left, fighting for what you wanted them to have. Somewhere where they don't have to dig and search the whole house to find it. You want them to know exactly where it is so that they won't have that burden of looking for things in their time of grief. So planning for that is very important, so that way your family can make sure to be able to focus on other things. Some families sit down and plan together, sit down and discuss, the will, and sit down and discuss, things like that. And then other times that they don't find out until that time comes. Some people get a lawyer or just a trusted person to handle that stuff for them with the family. Someone that's not too close, that would be able to be the strength to be able to discuss those things with the family. But I do want you to know that it's possible that you need to do some research to find out what happens to your personal property, your financial property, if you do not have a will. A lot of times people assume that it goes to their children automatically, but it's not always the case. A lot of times you're trying to get you're fighting to get those items because it's no will. In your 70s, you will be able to relax and, just do some hobbies, maybe volunteer. You should be able to travel if that's what you plan for and you have the money for it. So some people get a second job, a part-time job just to keep busy. But hopefully, in your 70s, you'll be comfortable, you'll be happy, and you would have been planning well so that you can pass that on to the generations after you. That is all about who you are becoming. So plan well.